Does my hair remind you guys of the Bratz dolls? I just need the lipstick and the clothes, the crop top. Don't worry about me. I'll make sure I'm always comfortable. Okay, you ain't gotta worry about me.
They say they like it.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna need you to move a little bit to the right.
But you just asked if I was
Sorry, I'm
comfortable.
sorry. Yeah.
I just got comfortable.
All right.
Should get a quarter of an inch.
Thank you. So, happy Fire Hour. Welcome back to Fire Hour. Last week's episode, we went over, business clarity overall and the 9 ways to get clarity fast as a business owner. And so, this today's topic is going to be on how to maximize everything you're doing already. And the reason why I say that is because my framework of clarity, direction, and speed. Direction is number two after clarity, right? If you already know where you're going, right, your vision, your goals, your dreams that you're pursuing, you're going towards it, right? Clarity is number one because you need to start with the end in mind to know exactly what you are working for, right, and aspiring to achieve. And can you actually check if it's recording?
Yeah.
Sorry. And when it comes to the second step, okay, thank you, which is direction, right? It's like the steps to take. Everyone here, especially if you're building Thrive, you already have the steps to take. It's IPAs, right? But how can you maximize that, right? If you're already crushing it and you're going and you're doing your best and you're already maximizing all efforts in play, how can you pour the fuel on that fire, like to even get better results or improve in certain aspects where you can multiply the results, right? And so that's what I wanted to just kind of explore today is how to maximize what you are already doing. And if you ask yourself this question, when it comes to what you're doing currently, do you think or do you know or do you have like a feeling of an area of improvement that you can already improve, right? If you just focus in on it. Like what area of your business or your income producing activities can you improve right now if you just think about it, right? For let's say for example well actually I'm wondering if anyone will comment if you already know. But remember it's about going back to the 80-20 principle, right? 20% of all the efforts gets 80% of the results, right? And so when it comes to just doing the activities, like certain activities, it's just 20% of your effort, 20% of your energy, producing 80% of everything else. Like, where is that leverage that you can find? Like, how can you identify where that leverage point is so that way that's the door that you open and you walk through versus, every other door, right? When it comes to social media, for example, something that we just started experimenting on is LinkedIn, right? And we just literally activated it a few days ago. And dang, I don't have my phone recording. But
Do you need
basically
mine? Oh no, it's logged in.
on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you need my phone or?
No, it's okay. So with LinkedIn, for example, obviously like the demographic on LinkedIn is according to everyone else who says it. I gotta dive into it again, but it's like professionals, business owners, investors, just people like that, right? Like in the business world, etc. And corporate, you name it, right? And so when it comes to using LinkedIn, yeah, how do we activate it for our business, right? Because the thing is, like at the end of the day, social media is just a tool. It's a platform. It's a channel that gets you connected to other people, right? That's all it is. It's a megaphone. So if you're able to activate other social media channels aside from, let's say, for example, Instagram, then why not, right? And when it comes to like this question, would you rather get, 100% of your traffic from one channel, or would you rather spread that traffic out across other channels? It really depends. It depends on your business, it depends on your efforts, it depends on what you want to do. But if you never test other channels, how do you know that you're getting the most bang for your buck, right? With the one that you're using right now. So that's why it's important to test. That's why it's important to find and identify the leverage through experimentation to see which one is actually going to result the biggest bang for your buck. Which one is going to actually get the 20% that gets the 80 done, right? So obviously, like let's say for example, if you're you have if your target audience, right? Your target demographic is people who, want to lose weight, or people who want to get more energy, or people who are after their goals and dreams, but when it comes to like that area, like I would argue that Instagram for sure is the best way, right? Just simply because the data is there. But again, have you tested everything else, right? And so when it comes to like LinkedIn, right, we just started experimenting on it with Star Motorworks, and I only posted two things, like posted two reels that I already put on Instagram, right, that got over like 1 million views, and I'm just testing it out to see like what's happening on LinkedIn, and like it's already producing results. Like we got a 900% like view rate on it, but that doesn't mean anything yet, because again, we have to like do it over time. Okay, so the whole point I'm making with that is, if you're able to identify the social media channel that will increase your conversions, increase your brand recognition, increase your lead generation, increase all of that stuff, why wouldn't you do it? Right? And if you're not testing it, then do you think it's for your business, right? I'm just throwing out ideas, but do you think it would be feasible for you to do, right? Do you think it would make sense for you to do? And again, it's about getting the data. So yeah, does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah. And then also when it comes to like YouTube Shorts, right? Like YouTube Shorts, that's the same thing as Instagram Reels, right? Except you're tapping into another demographic, or another target audience, just another market, right? Yeah. Another platform where you may potentially be able to unlock traffic, right? From the same amount of effort that you're doing. So who here has been like, posting on TikTok? Who here has, before maybe it goes away? Who knows? Before, who here has been posting on like YouTube Shorts? Who here has been posting on Pinterest? Who here has been posting on Facebook Reels, right? Like, what are you doing to diversify your marketing channels? That's a good question to ask yourself. Because again, um, let's say, for example, if Instagram ever goes down and that you get 100% of your traffic from Instagram, what happens to your business? Have you thought about that? Have you asked yourself that question? Remember, like SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Like this is in the T, right? The threats. If you get 100% of your traffic from Instagram, or from Facebook, or from whatever channel that you're heavily building on, and that's 100% of your traffic, right? And the T, the threat, it goes down. That traffic goes downhill. You can't access it anymore. What is like, what do you do? Have you asked yourself that question? This is why it's important to build, because here's what I'm going to share with you. There's three key beliefs that I truly believe is the truth. Okay. And this expands to life. This is for sure about business. But if you don't have this philosophy in your mind, then you will succumb to weaknesses. You will succumb to threats. And I truly believe that. So the three philosophies I have, or the three truths that I believe, is number one, like everything rises and falls in leadership, right? I'm pretty sure everyone here knows that now. Everything rises and falls in leadership. You are the leader of your own ship, and you are the leader of your own life. So it's up to you to make it happen, right? You're the one that's steering the ship. That's number one. Number two is, it's not the strongest or fastest who survives. It's the one who is most adaptable. And when it comes to life and business, what did I say before, right? If you're not growing your business, then it's only dying, right? There's no in between. Not only that, but because of innovation, right? Innovation is what puts businesses out of business because of lack of adaptation, right? Lack of adaptation to innovation puts people out. So how are you adapting? How are you adapting whenever markets change, whenever platforms change, whenever things in the market change? How are you adapting? Right? And number three, and ask yourself for adapting, like, are you even adapting? Right? And if you're not, it's already been proven over time, all right, over history, that the ones who don't adapt, they eventually, go away, right? So number three is start with the truth, because you'll always end up there anyways, right? And I think that I've said this before, the truth is the fastest shortcut that you can ever take, because you're literally going to start there anyways. So why go in circles, right? So the
You're
true,
gonna end up there.
yeah, you'll end up there anyways, right? So those are like the three philosophies that I have when it comes to an evergreen philosophy of, especially in business, like how are we going to make it happen, right? Because if you do business without integrity and you're not honest and you're just cutting corners, then obviously that catches up, right? When it comes to adapting, if you're not adapting to the new times, right, then you're going to be left behind. All the businesses and companies that are not pivoting and not using social media right now for their business, uh, they're irrelevant, and that's the truth, right? I was talking to one of my friends who works with Fortune 100 companies. And it's interesting because the company that he works like with is like they're a big company, okay? And when it comes to like their social media presence, we were talking about it. He mentioned that they're trying to get on social media, and they never had to be on social media because they already established like powerful credibility and powerful foundations. However, they still expressed an interest in getting on social media. Why is that? Right? Why do you think that is? And I'm going to share with you like an example, a case study. But who here knows about a creator named Mr. Beast? Mr. Beast is one of the biggest creators. Your kids might even know who he is, right?
My kids introduced me to him actually. They were watching all his videos.
So think about this, right? When it comes to Mr. Beast, like he's the top, at least from all the analytics and data and everything, he is number one. He is the top creator in the entire world. Okay. Look, yep. My son told me about him. I know him. Yeah. So, and believe it or not, but people still don't know who he is around the world, right? Isn't that interesting? Um, so social media is still just one avenue. It's just a one channel. But the thing is, like, as we continue to progress into the future, social media will continue to become more relevant, more relevant, more relevant until it's not, right? And who knows when that happens? But one day it may not, right? He has his own gummy candy and chocolate. Exactly. So that's part of the case study, right? When it comes to Mr. Beast, he's built such a big brand on social media that other people, other companies who didn't build on social media, they are now being put out of business because of market share, because Mr. Beast is capturing that market share. So now these companies are trying to do brand deals with him. They're trying to sponsor him. They're trying to do deals, like collaborations, etc., because he has all the attention, right? When it comes to the products that he's pushing out, he is capturing all that attention. And what's happening to the other companies that are not, with the times, that are not relevant, that are not in the mind of the consumers? They're losing out. It's just that simple. And there's obviously like the other aspect and perspective of always being in abundance, right? Where there's no competition. However, when you're going against a player that big, like the fact is that they are taking that market share, right? That doesn't mean that the consumer is not going to purchase those products that they purchased before. But again, it's the relevancy, it's the adaptation, it's who is relevant in the consumer's mind, right? And that's why it goes back to the whole entire point of diversifying your social media channels, finding that leverage. That way you can pour the fuel in that fire and see what results can you actually get, right? And that's why, like when it comes to LinkedIn, it's just an experiment, but I don't want to rely only on just one social media channel for, like, say, for example, the auto shop, right? That's why I started doing YouTube Shorts, started doing YouTube, started posting on TikTok, right? And everything else. It's because it's just, if we built only on one channel and that channel just happened to be, like producing less results compared to the other one that we were not even on, then we're missing out. We're leaving money on the table. Okay. So Jackie says, on all my flights, I see men using LinkedIn. So what does that tell you? Right? Imagine if you had a product or service that you can market to those people, right? Especially in first class. Yes. Why? And why do you think that, right? Um, we can assume, sending invitations, etc. We can assume that those people, especially if you see people in suits, like they do business, or they're in some type of industry that requires them to wear a suit, right? So like, do you think do you think connecting with that person would benefit you? We can assume the answer is yes, especially when it comes to just business, right? Because more connections lead to more money, right? Remember the five M's? The five M's, more meetings means more money. More meetings make more money. It's about connections, about relationships. Social media amplifies all that. Big networking biz on there, different industries, but yes, it's crazy. Yes, exactly. It's just, again, like the whole question I'm posing to everyone is like, where are you leaving money on the table, right? How can you multiply your efforts from the thing that you're already doing, your income producing activities, and how can you pour the fuel on the fire to multiply your results, right? Before on a episode that we did before, like I think in season 2 or season 1, I forget. Um, it was about decreasing input and increasing output, right? How can you decrease everything that you're doing, like simplify the complex and narrow it down to like just one thing, and then increase the output from doing that, just expanding and multiplying and getting bigger results. How can you do that from decreasing everything, from simplifying, right? So that's what this is about, that at least in my mind.
Why are you looking at me? Keep going.
Saying if you want to add anything.
No, I mean, what you're saying is just work smarter. Like if you're doing
Boom.
something already, like why not do it in another place that might drive more traffic, right?
Yes.
I think that we all have the same 24 hours in a day. How do we best use those 24 hours, right? And actually thinking. Sometimes we get so used to subconsciously doing. We have this automated program of ours that we can't break free from actually thinking, hey, like, is what I'm doing actually like the best thing to do? Or is there something better, right? Like thinking about time. And I'm really huge on like time and money and energy because once you understand one really, really well, you start to understand and unlock the rest of them and you see how it all works together. And once you see how it works together, you're able to move a lot faster in anything that you do.
See, this is why I need your input. You summarized everything I was saying in one sentence.
Oh, did I?
Work smarter, not harder.
I'm a woman of few words.
See, so that's exactly what I'm saying. But I'm giving the context, obviously. But yeah, it's like that. It's work smarter, right? Work smarter, work smarter. Here's like the point, okay, with that, is that in the future, going back to number 2, okay, let's call it like the 3 principles of life, right? Or a business. With like everything rises and falls in leadership, adaptability is everything, and starting with the truth, okay? With these 3 things, in the future, if you ask yourself the question, like, do you think that working smarter is going to be part of the future? Or do you think working even harder is going to be part of the future, right? If you think about like AI, like it's interesting because AI is really like it is trending, but it's not a trend. It's something that is going to be here, right? And so and it's going to be in your everyday life, right? Normal life. It's just going to be, you're going to have more awareness on it. But when it comes to AI in the future, like there's kind of like a fear out there where it's like, people are going to lose their jobs because of AI. And guess what though? It's true, right? Isn't that true? There's like video editors, for example. Like there's software companies out there that literally have an AI editing the videos, right, for you. And sometimes they can do better than a video editor, sometimes they can't. But doesn't that put like the video editors in terms of their job at risk in a sense? The answer is yes, right? Same thing when it comes to like, for example, with consulting. Why would a consultant get hired if AI can just simulate and give the answers in real time, like scrape as much data as possible and give the real life experiment case study, right? So it just in the future there's going to be all that stuff. There was a company I was working with who I got a chance to like basically be in a room with a company that is $1 billion, okay? And one of the like case studies that they gave, because that's just part of their business, is they use AI and technology to remove all labor, right? And it's working. It's like it's completely efficient, meaning that this is in a different country, but they literally are like it's all automated, everything, literally. Okay. So I got it. For me, like that opened up my perspective because I got a glimpse into what a multi-billion-dollar company is doing in real time, in the now. And like that's how they operate their business, literally just using technology and AI, right? It's just it's really interesting. Like the IP, like that I got to see, the intellectual property that I got to see that they don't release to the public. Like no one knows about this stuff unless like you're in a meeting with these people, and then they're showing you like their actual case studies, their like how their business operates. I got to see that, right? One of the biggest like breakthroughs I got from that, and just again, like the perspective shift, is that they literally automated everything. They literally automated like doing the operations with AI. Okay. So I saw that. So it's freaking crazy. But that's why I know it's possible, right? And when it comes to the future, um, ask yourself again, right? What again, when it comes to like the episode we talked about, when it comes to automating like everything, delegating the things that you don't want to do or that is not your strength, and eliminating the things that are no longer relevant, like that framework is always going to be used over and over again. Like what can you eliminate, automate, and delegate, right? And then how can you work on your strengths versus your weaknesses? How can you in your team identify everyone's strengths and only work on that and elevate that? According to Peter Drucker, like you don't want to work on weaknesses, right?
Mhm.
It's only on strengths. So how can you do that? Well, it's about again like identifying like what role are you in terms of the leadership? Like what is your strength? Like what ship do you want to drive? Where are you going? How are you steering it? How are you adapting to the market in real time, like right now? And then number three is, what is like your truth, really, right? And again, like this is all just ideas. Like I'm not trying to tell you to like shift your entire focus on not posting only on Instagram. If you want to post only on Instagram, like that's fine. But if you're doing the same work, right, you just do the reel, the video, whatever post it is one time, and you're able to like diversify that or and put that out everywhere else. And let's say it only takes like an extra 5 minutes per day to do that. Why wouldn't you do it? Right? Doesn't that make sense? I think it makes sense to me. So
More avenues to market.
yeah, it's like the truth is that with businesses that have the infrastructure and the team to do it, like it's better to be on every platform, right? That's the ideal scenario. But there's going to be that question of, well, which one is actually producing the most results, right? And then going harder on that one, versus obviously you have if your bandwidth is limited, then which ones do you really go on, right? Which ones do you really put your effort and time into, your energy? But that's why, again, like I said, you have to experiment. Even with the big companies, if they were to ask me this question and they have the infrastructure, they have the bandwidth to do it, I would tell them you must test on everything. But there are going to be certain platforms that I would say to only build on. And Instagram is one, for example, right? I believe that Instagram is one of the foundational pillars, especially in America, where you want to be building your brand on. You want to build brand recognition on. If you go out there and you connect with companies, you're building a brand, you're connecting with influencers, you're connecting with, you want to do deals, etc. The first place that they look typically is Instagram, because they want to see if you have credibility, they want to see if you have a big following, they want to see if you get reach, like they want to see like, who knows you, all that stuff. It's Instagram, right? And then another one that like because my awareness is increasing, it's expanding, like LinkedIn really is another one that uh, I just haven't played with because I just never wanted to. But now I'm starting to dabble into it because I want to see like what opportunities left on the table, right? And especially for me, like with my role as a consultant, like I should probably be on LinkedIn, right? So, but yeah, I'm gonna see like I mean it's the same thing. Like I already in 2018, like we created a course on LinkedIn actually on how to maximize that. It's still a little bit relevant, but obviously things have changed now. But it's the same thing. It's super simple, right? It's just give value, right? Connect with people, and monetize. That's all it is. It's the same thing across every social media platform. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's only one thing, okay? When it comes to diversifying your traffic, right? It's MOS, marketing, operations, and then scale, right? So the whole goal is to scale everything. Increase revenue, decrease costs, expand overall market share across everything and all at the same time. So how do you do that with your IPAs, right? How do you increase the marketing first? It's by doing what I said. It's experimenting, testing, identifying like where is your best bang for your buck. Um, Obviously, like for most here, it's just Instagram, really, right? You don't necessarily need to be on everything else. But again, like the SWOT analysis, T, like the threats. If you're not seeing that, if you don't believe that you must adapt in the future, then and it starts now, it starts yesterday. If you don't believe that, then I can't help you really. You know what I mean? But again, it's about that framework. It's the mindset. It's about how are you reacting and how are you being proactive to the market, to the real time in the now, right? And so yeah, that makes
Yes, that makes sense.
okay. All right. Yeah, it's because I'm making sure. Um,
It's adaptability overall.
it is yeah,
It's adaptability.
yeah.
It's like how adaptable are you to changes, right? Like what's happening around you or what's happening in the world, and do you realize what's happening and are you adapting quick enough? So like it's just a foundational piece, right? Like change is inevitable, right? So if everything around you is changing, you have to change with it and with the times when it's needed, but you also need your foundation, right? Like you need the evergreen foundational pieces in your life, to yourself, to your business, to your family, whatever that you kind of go off of, right? Like principles.
Mhm.
But yeah, like AI is here. It's only getting faster and faster. And I did want to touch on that, right? Because during fire hours, we don't just talk about thrive. We don't just talk about sales. We don't just talk about, certain things. We talk about everything overall, right? Because we believe that, educating everyone in everything and not like holding back is key to really caring about the people like within your organization and truly wanting the best for them, right? Not just what's in it for us. It's like what's in it for everyone and how can everyone adapt and change and see what's happening. Like there's a lot of people in the tech industry that got laid off because guess what? They're now replaceable for a lot less, right? So within what you do, can it be replaced? And how quickly will it be replaced? And are you thinking of those things right now, right? Are you thinking of what you're doing here? This is a people business. We work with people. I don't see AI replacing us that soon just because it's based on personal connections and like networking. And so for me, like when I was thinking about AI, I was like, this is a really good business because this business is like built with people, it's built with connections, it's built with heart, it's built with the team. So as you start to see the world trending, maybe you don't see it now, but it's here and it's going to get faster and faster. So evaluate what you're doing now. Besides this, what are you doing? And can that be replaced? And if it were to be replaced, how devastating would that be? Have you started thinking about, certain moves or where else you would go into, right? Like what is not as easily replaceable? So that was just something that I wanted to bring up. I know it's kind of off topic, but not.
It's not, it's on topic because like you're thinking about the long term like
Yeah.
repercussions. One thing that I really learned like recently actually is about like being proactive versus reactive, right? I learned it before, but this I have like a completely different understanding now because I get to see it in real time, like from an organization that is really powerful. And so when it comes to like being proactive versus reactive, like that's what I relate it to. It's about your mindset. All right. When it comes to your life, it comes to your business, when it comes to your income, are you being proactive or reactive? And so again, like if you're not like adapting, if you're not future pacing yourself, if you're not foretelling the future, if you're not doing that kind of stuff, right? Gathering the data, like seeing where the market is going, right? Guess what? Like you're gonna be reactive when the market actually hits you. when something happens and you didn't have the foresight or insight or even like the mindset to adapt. Okay. So that's just part of mindset though. That's part of leadership. Everyone here is a leader. And if people are following you and they're really like looking up to you, that like you're their guide, etc. And you're not, and you as the leader who has those people are not seeing the future of where everyone's going, then what kind of reflection is that on you, right? This is about leadership development, right? Elevating your leadership skills, leadership mindset. Like if you're leading people and you're leading them towards a place where you can't even see like where it's going, then again, when it happens, you're gonna find yourself in reaction mode versus being proactive when it does happen because it's inevitable. That's the thing, right? And I'm not saying that we can tell the future. I'm just saying that like it just makes sense that it's going that way, okay? That's it. So yeah, it's just I think that the mindset of looking long term and then being proactive, like what can you do today, versus being reactive when it happens is super important actually. And when it comes to like the money, for example, right? It reminds me of like saving, right? Saving money, having like that money for a rainy day,
Yeah.
building that a cash cow where you're able to diversify your assets, your expenses through those assets and everything in between.
Hmm.
I think that if you haven't started that, like now is the best time, right? Now is the best time because again, like you just like we don't know what's gonna happen, uh, like with anything. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to the business side, especially when it comes to Thrive, like we don't control it, right? We don't control Thrive. We are just independent promoters of Thrive, and so that's a great thing. But at the same time, it's like gotta think smarter, right? Think smarter. What decisions can you make in the now to be proactive? Use the cash cow, right? Thrive is a cash cow. Use it to diversify your income. Use it to diversify your assets. Use it to diversify your investments. Like use this cash cow, take the opportunity and pour the fuel in the fire and the marketing, what I'm talking about, all the experiments, marketing the people, right? And then from there, diversify the results, right? Like start to multiply those results through your efforts and be proactive for the future. And then from there, like you'll thank yourself. Um,
Every little bit counts. Like I
mhm,
said, like time, money, and energy, it all intertwines, right? So what sometimes you may think is small now is it could be very big, right? Based on your efforts. And if you haven't already, at least a 1 month cushion, right? So what that is 1 month of your expenses. Just start with 1 month. I always tell people like 3 to 6 months in savings for emergency funds is like a really, really good cushion. Like that's where you want to be. And if they're like, I'm not even there, like start with 1 month at a time. Shoot for 1 month. Like, what can you do? What can you save? Right. But I also share with people that saving money doesn't make you money. Like making money makes you money, right? And then it's like how are you going to now like use that extra money that you make, right? Like are you going to save it? Are you going to invest it? Are you going to pay off debt? So having this opportunity in your hands and being able to do it on the side of everything that you do, like I see a lot of you guys, you have full-time jobs. Some of you had like 2 to 5 kids, and then you have Thrive, and then you might have like a little other side business, right? Like everything counts, everything counts. And what is it that you can do in little like nooks and crannies of your day that can actually produce you results right away and that's easily scalable, right? So start to think of those types of things, right? Like this is one huge opportunity. What else is there? Or why should you, why would you think that, putting more time into this business would be important for you? Like, how can it help you and your family and your future and other people around you that are touched by it?
exactly. Yeah. And then for me, like when it comes to like what I do as a business strategist, like I live in the future, right? I have to strategize what's happening in the future and bringing it back. So my eye is very trained compared to most people when it comes to like this type of thing, especially when it comes to the experience I have. Like it's just interesting because like when I actually share it, it's like, should I share this with everyone? But The thing is that like it's what Crystal said before. Like we don't hold back. Like we're not going to hold back anything, and it's what we see. You know what I mean? So
And here's another truth though, right?
what?
Most people won't do it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like you get the education, and it's not just, from us, it's just from anywhere. Like most of the times, there's a lot of information out there and you can get it for free and it's easily accessible. But whether people put it into play or not is their decision, right? Like if you're still in the same place that you were 1 year, 2 years, 3 years ago, there's an issue, right? And so sometimes it's the subconscious programming that we have. We wake up and we do the same thing and we say we're going to change and we say we're going to do something different. We say we want something different, but yet we still do the same thing that we've been doing. And your mind is almost like working against you, right? And so if you can take things and adapt and put them into action just to see what will happen, even if it's the tiniest action can start to change your mind and how you work on things, right? So it's unfortunate, but most people don't take what other people say and like put it into action, which is why like the results are never produced.
yeah. But it's number two. It's adaptability. That's it. It's like humbling yourself, lowering the ego, and really like looking at it from a putting your business hat on, right? Because this is just business, right? We're talking about business right now, but it entails your life as well. But put your business hat on and really like borrow our strength of this is what we see, and how can you adapt that mindset to be proactive, right? In all aspects that you can control in your life, in your business. How can you be proactive with all that instead of reactive when it happens, right? And so, the reason why like we do Fire Hour and it's very like long form, because I was thinking about this yesterday, because I was thinking about it too, and I was like, I could put all this in like a 12-minute, 15-minute video, like, but it would be like this. It would be like step by step by step by step by step, right? But the thing is, like, there is there's a reason for long form context, and the reason why I was thinking about it, it's because when we did Fire Hour season one, um, basically what happened in Fire Hour season one, especially for those who weren't there, is that we did Fire Hour every day for 7 days straight for 90 days. Okay. It was 84 days that we did that. So we did it 7 days a week. Right. But and the energy that like I was putting out was completely like it was 10x this or 100x this, the energy, because I'm just more refined now. but when it comes to the Fire Hour season one, right? Like all of that was all the context, and those who were there, like those who were like actually like doing the work, right? Letting the learning lead to action, like they downloaded a lot of information that I was sharing, and it imprinted and gave them a blueprint foundation for how they operate today, how they think today. And so like who you are, but literally like that's the power of a mentor. That's the power of someone who is like you really like align with them, and you can download and receive their information. And then that is what changes. That's what changes the programming that you're talking about, right? In NLP, it's about the subconscious programming, your wiring. How do you rewire that? That Fire Hour run was what I did. It was like an entire like NLP in just in that run, right? Rewiring how you think, you shaping exactly like the philosophies that you need to implement so that way you can be successful in your business. And so like when it comes to like this long form context of Fire Hour, like especially in now, right? I think it's still relevant. I think it's still useful for those who are paying attention, because you're able to download just what we're talking about. And then from there, in the future, like sometime in the future, if you're not receiving it just now, at least you still have the download. At least you still have that information because you're receiving it. You're listening right now. You're on. You're not tuning it out. You're listening. You're focused. You're here, right? You showed up. You're here. In the future, sometime, I don't know when it's gonna happen, but it's just this is what happens to everyone. Like you'll hear something and then you'll forget about it, but then in the future something happens and it triggers it and it unlocks that information for you. And then you're like, wow, like this is like now I'm using this information.
Yeah.
Now I get it. Now I see it. Now I can put it into action, right? All that stuff.
You connect it. And that's happened to me like multiple times, right? Like I'm listening, I'm hearing, I'm studying, but like it's not clicking yet. Like I'm not fully understanding it yet. And then like down the line, it could be weeks, months, or even years later when
Mhm.
something happens and I'm like in an experience and then I'm like, oh my goodness. And then I pull that data back from then into like what I'm doing and then it finally clicks, right?
Mhm.
So don't worry sometimes if things don't click right away, right? It's a lot of information. It's a lot of like thinking. It's a lot of frameworks, but eventually at some point, just because you got the knowledge now, eventually it'll click somewhere and you'll be like, oh, I remember when that was spoken about, or I remember when I learned this, I didn't fully understand it, but now I'm in it. And like, okay, I remember this is what happens and this is what I do next. Boom. And then it gets implemented, right? It's just easy as that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's a lot of like different frameworks, like you said, but it just depends on like how you use it, right? Like on the other episode, it's like, do you want to get rich or just watch, right? And the whole point of that, like that phrase is, are you implementing, right? Are you implementing what you're learning? If you're not implementing it, then you're just watching. That's all it is. And so it's about being serious, like being that serious student, like identifying like what is true for you and what can you implement and how, and again, like how can you maximize your efforts? Like everything that you're doing already, how can you maximize it? If you're already doing it, like can you do it better? Right? If you've already identified the best way to do it and you foresee no improvement with it, then that's the best, right? Always do your best, like in the agreements, 4 agreements, like always do your best, right? So like that is one thing, but that's the whole point. Is like I already know that what like the most value that someone could get when it comes to the marketing side of Thrive, it's about like how can you be the loudest thriver, right? How can you be the loudest thriver and really like let people know, like in your network, let people know that you thrive, right? Because that's how you're gonna bring people in, get people on Thrive, right? So again, it just goes back to what I was talking about, like the marketing. If you're just marketing on one channel, like that, yeah, people know that you thrive, but who's thriving with you, right? And then how like can you affect them and impact their lives and the people that they know, right? Because if Thrive has already benefited you positively, not just on the monetary side, like the money side, but obviously the product side, right? Like who else needs that? And then it goes through the entire thing. I'm just saying, like, how can you pour that fuel on that fire, right? It's very redundant, but maybe like I don't know, it just makes sense to me. So that's marketing. Marketing O is operations. Okay. When it comes to like your income producing activities, like what I said before, eliminate, automate, delegate. Okay. Again, if you're not doing these things, like ask yourself the question, like, ask yourself the 3 questions. Like, as a leader, like, where are you steering your ship? Right? And people who are following you, like, what are they doing? And then when it comes to like an adaptation, right? Like if you want to work smarter, it's like what Crystal said, like working smarter, not harder. Like work smarter. How can you work smarter in your operations? Right? If you have to do something over and over again, right? Creating reels. What can you eliminate, automate, delegate, right? When you're doing that in your income producing activities, like what can you eliminate, automate, delegate? Which one do you need to pour fuel on the fire? So that way you can amplify your results. The same effort, but amplified results, multiplied results, right? That's like operations, okay? It's operational in your life. Like if you don't like doing dishes, like are you using dishwasher, right? Or do you have someone who's doing the dishes for you, cleaning your house, etc.? Like automate and delegate. Eliminate, automate, delegate. Same thing, right? Because again, especially when you do a 90-day run, like you have to eliminate all distractions, right? And only focus literally on income producing activities, right? And not only that, but part of the income producing activities is living your best life. It's your lifestyle. Okay. That's what Jim Rohn says. Like your lifestyle, how you live your life is everything. That's the beauty of like us being here is we get and choose and decide on how we want to live our life. There are some people who want to live like 9 to 5, which is perfectly fine, right? And there are some people who want to be entrepreneurs, be their own boss. There's some people who just want to create big impact and change. There's some people who just want to have a job because they like it, right? They like the stability. Stability is it depends on your position in your job, but like all that stuff. So it just depends on the mindset that you want to adopt and how and the lifestyle that you want to have. But again, like I know for a fact that especially if you're an entrepreneur and you're in business, like these are the things that you got to implement because it's necessary, right? And then scale, right? Increasing revenue. If you're not increasing revenue, like something is already broken in the marketing or operations, okay? If there's no decrease of costs, unless you have fixed costs, right? Then like there's room for improvement in that. And with the use of technology, the use of AI, like it's possible already. I already know that for a fact because you have to think about costs in it's like what you said before, the three things. Time is a cost, energy is a cost, and money is a cost, right? Because those are the resources that most people like deal with every day. When you're scaling a business, your business, are you decreasing costs in time, energy, and money? Like, where are you doing it in your expenses? Like, where are you identifying the decreases that you can implement? And then from there, move on to increasing revenue. Because you can only like decrease costs so much, but you can infinitely increase revenue based on your skill, based on your product and service, based on how you do it, right? Based on how big your brand is built, right? So it just depends on like what you want to do. And then when it comes to expanding overall market share, right? It's like again, like the case study from earlier, just a reference of it, like Mr. Beast. Like his market share is so huge that he's capturing market share from companies that have taken like 20, 30 years to build, right? And it's all because of social media, because of capturing market share. That's why when it goes back to the first thing I was talking about, how can you multiply your efforts, right, in your marketing? By diversifying your channels, why wouldn't you do that? It's because you're automatically capturing market share anyways. Because if you ask yourself this question, who needs Thrive?
Everybody,
Like
everybody.
who can benefit from it, right? Yes, there's an argument where like it doesn't work for everyone because it's based on your body, which is makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it makes sense. But how do you know until they try, right? So, and then when it comes to social media, like what I said before, like the understanding of it is social media is just a tool to talk to other people, right? It really is. That's what it is.
I feel like it also is like
Mhm.
groups, right? Like it's mindset. And like your mind is so powerful. So what you believe, you are, right? So
Yeah.
I would say like people that say that Thrive doesn't work, most of the time it's their mindset, right? They're like, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work. This isn't going to work, right? Like your mind is a very, very powerful tool. And what you think about, what you speak about is what you bring about, right? And so, since Jackie and I and Twin, like you guys have seen it, like and Angela, like you guys have seen over the last like some of us 5 to 7 years, right? And literally there's just pockets. There's pockets of
Mhm.
groups within our network or within different networks. And it's like a hub, right? And so if one hub or a couple people within that hub is like, it doesn't work, like it all doesn't work, right? But 5 to 7 years later, like if you look at them, you're just like, oh my goodness, like you're still the same, like your mindset is still the same. You still do the same thing. There's been no changes, there's been no adapting, like you're still in high school or middle school way of thinking, right? So sometimes I feel like there's just hubs of like negativity or like negative spots. And yeah, like if you say it's not going to work, how consistent are you going to be? And like what are you going to be doing like on the side of trying to get healthy, right? You're trying to get healthy, but at the same time, like you self-sabotage by doing things that is working against it. And then instead of, taking that accountability, you're like, oh, well, it's this. So
It's just mindset though. Like
yeah, I feel like it just doesn't work for people that are like in the negative mindset and aren't consistent and like want to like have something to just like scapegoat it, right?
yeah, it's about like lack of education. Like when it comes to like objections, like the sales training of objections, it's literally just lack of education, right? Like for example, like with AI, the use of conversational AI, right? Conversational AI means that you are basically replacing a human with an AI bot, like a chat bot that discusses or has a conversation with whoever else who the end user is, right? And this AI chatbot can literally sell the end user because you trained it and because it's that's how intelligent it is, right? And so there's businesses that are not going to implement that until it's too late. There's going to be businesses out there that are not going to implement it because they don't know, they don't have the education, right? That's actually one thing that I'm working on right now with Star Motorworks is how do I already automated the DMs for Star Motorworks. Like if you like literally you can test it if you want. um, just DM the Star Motorworks the word quote, and literally like you'll get an automation, like what I showed you guys before. Like it's just the workflow automations. But that's not AI, okay? That's just software. Okay, it's just an automation. But when it comes to like the thing that I'm trying to work on right now, and it's just about implementing it and really like getting inputs, feeding it, etc., is the AI, conversational AI. And my question that I'm figuring out, exploring, is how can we automate this and really implement conversational AI with Star Motorworks, right? Because like everything that we do, again, I believe this. Everything that we do, an AI can do, right? It's just that how well can you train it? You know how like I say like the best trained team wins? Like that's true. I found that to be true in business. But now I'm like exploring like what best AI team can I train so that way I can do everything else. So that's like in the works. When I figure it out, I will let you know. But I already seen it like in other businesses. It's conversational AI is already working. And when it comes to like inputting the data into it, and then getting the results, like it's already been proven. It's just about like the biggest problem that everyone will have, why I see time and time again for every business and every company I've worked with is the first thing, the M, marketing. They lack marketing. Everything is always lack of marketing. It's always a lack of marketing. That's why the number one thing that everyone's going after right now, especially if you're in business, is you're always asking yourself this question: how can I reach more people? How can I increase my views? Like, like if you're not asking yourself that question, it's because you're either not doing marketing or you're content with like what you're doing right now. Okay. But every business always asks, how can I reach more people? How can I increase my views? How can I get more followers? Right? How can I expand my reach? Oh, like it's the same question. Just how can I reach more people? That's all it is. And forever, people will still ask that, in my opinion, is even if you implement like AI and you implement automation and you do all that stuff, like the first part of scaling a business is what? It's the M, what I talk about, MOS. It's the marketing. It's always marketing. It's always marketing. Because why? Every other business out there is marketing. They're competing to become relevant. They're competing for attention, etc. So for you, like no matter what you implement, the number one thing that is not going to be ever going out is the marketing.
Yep. And I'd like just to touch on that. Like I was just thinking about like one of my friends, she's in an industry, in a type of industry, right? And she's great at what she does. Like she is so good at what she does. But there's other people out there that seek her for advice that aren't as good as her because they're seeking her for advice, but they like crush it, right? Why? Because they use social media, right? They're using social media, they're loud and they're out there, but she's not, right? And so I'm just like, you got to get on, like you got to do more. Like you're so good at what you do, and like all these girls are coming to you to like ask you like how to do this or how to do that, right? It's a beauty industry, right? It's in the beauty industry. And so I'm like, how can you get louder to be able to grab that attention and grab that market share for yourself, right? Instead of like dishing out all the information and then having other people like turn around and use it, right? Because if they do that, like that's on you. So it's always marketing and marketing yourself. Like it's just having to get really comfortable being uncomfortable if that is like what's holding you back, or if it's just a learning curve, right? And just getting yourself out there.
Yeah, but the best way to overcome that is just by doing. That's it. Like let your learning lead to action and then just putting yourself out there and obviously getting better over time. But like when you're doing marketing, you have to have a back end. Okay. Like if you don't have the back end done, like on the operational side, because once you do marketing, like you get the attention, etc., people are on your DMs, all that stuff. Like there's gonna be a point like what you will experience. Okay. If you've never experienced this yet, you will experience it eventually, if you continue and you like really crush it. But you'll experience a flood of DMs where you can't get back to everyone. Like at one point, I had someone else getting back to people in my DMs because that's just how stacked my DMs were. And that was like for a year and a half straight of people just, my DMs are flooded. I can't get, and it's a year and a half straight. I can't get back to people like that unless like someone else was doing it. And I created scripts at the time, like to, for the person that was doing it for me to like reply back to everyone while I'm doing, like, while I'm focusing on other things, right? Does that make sense? So, because the thing is that you don't, like, who says it has to be you in your DMs? Like, why don't you just like delegate that to someone else who has access? And you have to do it in a careful way because you don't want people to have truly you don't want people to have access to your like your main source of traffic that like like you're relying on.
Your
Okay.
source of income.
Yeah, it's like but there's ways to do it and it just depends on how like, if you're even gonna do that.
But first get the traffic in.
Yeah, but you need to have the traffic first. Yeah.
If you don't have traffic, you can build as many backend systems as you want and it's going nowhere. Like you're just going downhill.
Yeah, well, you need to get the traffic as well in order to even like have that problem.
Test the data.
Well, to even have that problem, to even come up with that solution, right? I had a problem where I couldn't get back to people, literally, and so I had to actually come up with a solution of how can I get back to all these people? You know what I mean? And so that's what happens when you have marketing. When you have a brand, like when you're a brand, like your word of mouth is so strong that people are hearing about you left and right, and people are like taking pictures with you when they see you randomly, and all these things. Okay, so I lived that already, and it's just part of building a personal brand, right? Everyone here, like one of the trends that is like really still going and going now and becoming even more relevant is everyone is trying to become a personal brand, trying to build a personal brand, right? I did this like all my life already. I already built a personal brand all my life. And then when social media came, like it was about just learning social media and using it. And I did that too, right? That's how I made my full-time income just from posting on social media. And now like there's a interesting video I watched like a few days ago. The title of the video is AI influencers, right? So now I'm like, man, like how are we like because I already know that that's gonna happen. It's already
It's
happening.
already happening.
Yeah.
There's ones with like millions of followers getting brand deals. You guys, there's AI, there's computers making more money.
So AI influencers is very interesting. It's a very interesting concept to me. But the thing is, like, have we not seen this in movies? Have we already not seen this in movies where like in the movie like there is like a hologram or and like basically like a yeah it's a hologram and they're already like interacting with people and they're like the bartender and they're like giving like the drinks and like they're interacting and conversating. That's conversational AI mixed in with obviously like real life you can reach it, you can touch it. And so like that idea is now it's already here. But my question is how can you and I activate that for ourselves? How can we create an AI influencer from ourselves or integrate it into your business and leverage that? And here's the caveat, okay? Because this idea of AI influencers is not status quo, okay? There's obviously going to be pushback. When Facebook first came out, there was pushback. Now it's normal. And then Instagram came out, there was pushback. Now it's normal. Like TikTok, same thing, everything, okay? Like there's whenever something is not status quo, people push back because it's just lack of adaptability. That's it. Okay. And it's like it's breaking like their belief system. So when it comes to like AI influencers, like it may not be relevant to you, but it's very relevant to me, especially with what I think about and what I do. And so when it comes to AI influencers, like decreasing expense, time, energy, money. Imagine having an AI influencer. Like, imagine you employed an AI influencer and they're getting you the results. They're decreasing the time to results. They're decreasing the money to results, the cost. They're decreasing the like everything, right? Time, energy, the energy, like your energy. They're literally replacing your energy so you can use your energy for everything else. Like, how can you activate that right now, right? And there's a lot of resources out there to do this, but for me, like I don't have a system in place yet for how I do it. So that's something that I'm also working on. Like I'm giving you guys the real-time data, right? In today's world, I'll leave it with you with this. Because in the future, like data is going to be like, especially if you think about this, like companies who get the most information, the most data in the now, right? Time, like the speed to the data to get them results, they win. The reason why it's because they go faster, right? Clarity, direction, speed. The number one thing that people want is speed, fast results. Okay. The only thing you need is clarity, is the education, the knowledge. That's clarity. Then the direction, the steps of how to get there, unlock because now you have clarity. And then the speed is the bonus, which is what everyone wants, is the speed to result. Okay. And this is separate from enjoying the journey. Okay. It's important to enjoy the journey, but I'm talking about something completely different. I'm talking about like the results, the speed to results. So when you look at like companies out there, big companies, obviously they want the clarity, they want the knowledge, the wisdom, they want the experience, they want the data. So that way they can implement as fast as possible, take action as fast as possible to get the result as fast as possible. Why? It's because they are competing in a marketplace where if one other company who's really big and captures a lot of market share just does one thing that they didn't implement, they didn't foresee, then this company is behind now. And that's the truth because these these players now, they actually can move the market. They actually can affect our lives because that's how much money they're playing with. That's how much impact they actually make when they make something, when they take action. Okay. And that's the whole point of, of just to summarize everything, of being proactive versus reactive. Like for us, like the games that we play, it's not on that level where we're necessarily impacting like the masses. But one day, what if you can, right? If you have the influence in the company, like you automatically are impacting the masses. Everything that you say and do, people are watching you. So then you automatically influence them. That's why I say everything rises and falls in leadership. It's because if you are, again, if you are the local celebrity in your network, if you are the celebrity inside a company, guess what? Everything that you do, everything that you say, people, it matters because people are watching. And so when it comes to these bigger markets, again, these bigger players, speed to the data, speed to the results, it matters. And again, when it comes to the AI influencers, that's the whole point I was trying to make, is that for me, it matters because I have other things that like are on my plate that require my energy and my time. And if I don't focus on those things, then the needle doesn't get moved in the way that I need it to get made. And then not only that, but who suffers because of my lack of action, my lack of decisions, my lack of refinement, everything because I'm a leader in my ship, a leader in my life. So everything that I do and everything that I say, it matters. It matters to me and it matters to the people that are affected. And eventually, what I foresee for my future is that because I'm not trying to play small, like I want to play big. So I need to do the work now in order to get there. And then when it comes time, I'm proactive only and not reactive. And that's what I'm actively refining right now. So that's how long term I play. Okay. Think in decades, not days. And it's important for me because that's what that's what I care about. All right. So I don't know. I'm just giving you guys the data, the real-time data. So speed to result. Speed. You guys are getting real-time data right now. Everyone who's not on this live, like you don't get this real-time data. But this data, if again, like if you're dreaming big and you're first seeing like where you're going for your future, like you're gonna always tell yourself when you reflect, like I wish I worked harder, right? I wish I refined myself sooner. I wish I started sooner than later. Because eventually when you become aware of that and you start to get the clarity, the knowledge, the wisdom, the data, the information, the experience, when you reflect, true or not true, but do you say that you wish you started sooner? Right? Did you wish you knew this sooner? Because now you're working on it now, right? Obviously, the answer is yes. So that's why like I'm sharing it. It's because it's not just for no reason. Like I'm sharing this because someone like one person here is going to receive this information and they're going to actively put it into action and then work on themselves and it's going to produce results that are going to be tremendous for them because you're multiplying your efforts. Because if you get better, everyone else around you gets better automatically, right? Lena says, we appreciate your time and energy. You don't know how much we can apply this across the board in our life and work. I'm grateful for Fire Hour. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's fire. Like that's the whole point. Okay. Fire, like Fire Hour, fire is transformation. It's life change. And that's why, like, that's why we do it. Okay, again, like, it's because someone out there, like someone here, you will hear it and then you'll implement it and you will get the results because of your work that you do. It's not because of us, right? It's because of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's yeah, so it's 7:07. I'm gonna go.
I almost sneezed. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did, but
You did?
yeah.
Were they twitching?
No. So so thank you for for hopping on and sharing your time and energy with us. Hopefully this was valuable. I know this was very, there's a lot of context here, but replay this if you need, or when it clicks with you, like there's a lot of golden nuggets. Okay, there's a lot of mindset, there's a lot of perspective, there's a lot of there's three principles and there's frameworks. Okay, in this call, in this episode, for those who are a leader and you influence others because of what you say, what you do, you are an influencer in your network. Like this call, this episode, like if you're already taking notes, that's great, but like implement it, right? And ask yourself the questions. Like this is like a time where you reflect for yourself. It's like, how can you improve and what areas you need to refocus on and refine to multiply the results, okay, from the things you're already doing? And how can you adapt and be proactive versus reactive? Because when you do that, I'm telling you right now, like, well, you'll know when it's working because your life gets easier, because the way that you do things gets easier, because you're more flowing, like you're more in a flow state versus like trying to force things, and everything really starts to get like you start to amplify your results. Okay. And it's super simple, but obviously like things are complex, so you got to keep on simplifying it with the data, the information, the knowledge. Once you do that, you get the experience, the wisdom, and then from there it's just instinctual change, right? It's instinctual action at a faster rate. And then you can impact more people, help more people out, empower others, empower yourself in the process. And not only that, but get the results, right? Because it's about getting results in business. And so this episode was very like in my opinion, it's high level because it's really about like you're gonna think, you're gonna have to work for to think about this. But if it's not simple to understand, then maybe it's not time to implement it just yet for yourself, but at least plant that seed, right? And then to lock it in, like just to lock this information in, like hit something, hit the table, okay? That's something I learned recently, and I've been using it right away. Can you give me that?
Here, yeah. He started doing this and I'm like, what are you doing?
I'm not gonna share the purpose or the reason, but
You just shared the purpose or the reason.
it's to lock it in. Okay, it's to lock it in. All right.
That's what I hear all day now.
Yeah, because I just understand now. It's a different, it's interesting. But anyways, hopefully it was valuable. Crush it, dominate your day.
Have a happy and safe 4th of July.
Alex says, too easy to leave here feeling motivated, but then not to do anything about it and doom scroll the day away. Maintaining that motivation and using it as momentum to act. Yes.
Yes.
Boom. 100%. Just the doom scrolling.
That's from our newest auto bonus earner. You guys, he all started here like all of
Wow.
us at 0, right? So congrats on that, Alex. That is huge.
Congratulations. You deserve it. And this is just the beginning. Alex, you're gonna hit it all the way. You're gonna get it. 100%. All right, everyone. Love you all.
And safe 4th of July.
Yeah, have a safe and happy 4th of July. Enjoy. I love you all.
Love
Take
you
care.
guys.
Peace out.
Bye.